This is the Analysis in Change with Nathan Williams and Neil Kieran.
Welcome to Analysis in Chains. I'm Nathan Williams. Joining me today is Antonius Link, the co-founder and CVO of Hygh AG, a blockchain-based advertising network with revenue share that specializes in digital outside of the house or out-of-home advertising. Antonius, thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hello.
So you have then a digital platform where I or someone else could go select where we would want our advertisement to appear in an outdoor setting and just book it electronically?
Imagine it like a Airbnb for the digital out-of-home media. So you have a platform where you can register as a display provider or an advertiser, and then you will be able to provide your screen or advertise on screens. So say you're an advertiser, you want to advertise your brand, your restaurant, your service, then you go online, create your media, either you upload your own or create it with the ad creator, and then you select the screens you want to advertise on, select your budget or spots, and then it's really intuitive, and then you can go live in minutes instead of a 3-month process that is currently the place. And this is why 80% of the out-of-home market right now is controlled by 2 handful of companies worldwide, and we thought about changing that.
So what was interesting to me when I was reading up on your site is the fact that you've incorporated blockchain into it. How does blockchain integrate with something like an advertising network that has screens out of home?
What we created is a token that is also a fully regulated one, and it gives you a revenue share. It's a new form of participating in a company's growth. Imagine if you could buy something that grants you a revenue of what Airbnb is making. Like when someone books $100 apartment and you get your tiny share out of it, like then you would definitely go for it by the millions and billions that Airbnb generates in revenue.
Now, when you're looking at doing a revenue share token and selling that, does the regulatory body consider that to be a security? And if so, how difficult is it to get regulated?
Yeah, I mean, this right now is pioneering space. It's pioneering new frontiers of what is possible and what will be the future of financial assets. And I mean, it's a lot of is in gray area. A lot of like different jurisdictions are in a passive mood. There, they just like watch out and watch that not a lot of scam, and like they like are a little bit protective. But if like we go the fully regulated route, we don't want to mess around with unregulation. We are happy to talk with regulators. We make sure we are fully compliant everywhere we can. And yeah, this is the way to go. But at the end, it's still gray area in a lot of it's pioneering.
You guys are doing it in Germany, right? So it would be the BaFin that you've been talking to.
The BaFin. We are incorporated in Switzerland, actually.
Oh, okay.
in Zug, Switzerland. Yeah.
And how open have you found them to this type of revenue share token?
I think Switzerland is also trying to be at the frontier of when it comes to crypto regulation, or at least they say they will. The thing is, it's okay. I mean,
it's something that a lot of the industry is really struggling with right now, because the thing is, when I got started with the podcast, it was I guess 2017. A lot of people were moving to Switzerland. It was Crypto Valley. Everybody was in Zug. And actually, my main project is called MindSpider. We're based in Zug, Switzerland ourselves. But what we found is that as 2018 came up and all of the crypto bubble hype sort of was fading, and people were looking at, okay, well, how do we go forward from here? Switzerland became increasingly difficult, and I'm just wondering what your experience was. Was it fairly smooth by the time you started, which was again a year and a half ago, or did you find that by the time you were talking to regulators, it was more difficult to get your bank account and to get the approval?
Yeah, I mean, it was a hassle, of course, and I mean, at the end, it's still not as friendly as I wish it would be, especially with the banks, because they are super concerned. I mean, everyone is talking about, ooh, this is the future, and also the banks kind of want to get in or want to be friendly, but at the end, they're all afraid, and they don't want to. They don't want to mess with this. So yeah, this is still a big thing in the industry and still a big problem. And this is also the thing. We are trying to, like, everyone in this crypto scene is trying to be on the frontier of the next revolution of value transfer. And at the end, every company still needs a bank account to operate and still need to cooperate, and we're still reliant on those old mechanisms, old industries that are like not friendly to us.
I don't know if there's any way around that, honestly. Like the reality of the situation is, until landlords and distributors and gasoline companies start accepting crypto, that I think everyone is going to continue to need a bank account.
I think it will change. It will change. Of course, it will change. I'm super optimistic when it comes to the future, because also, like, a few banks will step up and be on the frontier, and then it will be a matter of time when the rest comes, and then it's either adopt or die for the banking industry. They have to adopt. So. Yeah, but the status quo is a little bit shitty, but I think in the future it will be super open, and they have to adopt, of course.
Now, tell me a little bit about this, your vision for the future of advertising. From what I understand, this is the sort of thing where you're trying to be sort of a marketplace, right? Where people who have outdoor screens can sort of link into your network, and then people who want to advertise can link into the network, and you're sort of right at the center. How does blockchain enable that?
It does not.
Okay, but so the blockchain aspect really is the revenue share. Why did you opt to go with a token for the revenue share as opposed to doing something like what Google did, where they would just create accounts and pay people out with fiat currency?
I mean, at the end, it's cool to have a asset behind it, and that you can maneuver all around the world. You can send it to everyone, and I think this is some really, really pioneering space there.
Do you think that in the future, more investments are going to be going in this direction, where average people are going to be investing in companies based on tokens? And what's the advantage of doing that over, say, owning stocks?
Yeah, what I think in the end, also stocks will move to backbone blockchain structures, so that you could that your stock possession is way more movable, also outside of the database that your exchange has. So I think at the end, stocks will move to the blockchain. Like, every asset will be traded on the blockchain.
What would that mean if stocks and equity moves to blockchain for companies like yours? What does that mean in terms of voting rights?
I mean, this is a part of how you set the contract at the beginning or in the middle. I mean, this is a thing about like it is how it is right now. If you don't want invest in, like, if you don't want to like have hostile people in your company, then you don't want to like your partners to sell equity or something like this to unwanted partners, then you make it in the company framework, in the legal setting. And in the future you can do this and write this into a smart contract and give like different equity parts, different permissions or something like this. Was that clear? Do you know what I
I
mean?
think so. So, if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that this is the sort of thing that will sort itself out based on how you set the contract at the beginning for the security tokens or the equity tokens, and that people shouldn't just naively say, "Well, one token equals one share," but there should be some sort of sandbox around it defining exactly what the rights are and who gets to exercise them.
That makes more sense. Yeah,
Okay.
that's accurate.
Why did you focus on out of doors advertising when it seems like right now most companies are focused on hyper targeted advertising for individual people?
Yeah, so it's actually it's a trend from Netflix and new innovative companies to go back to out of home, to advertise in the real world. And I mean, at the end, when it comes down to, we people still live in cities and move physically around places. So we walk around and look at our cities, and this is still information that matters. What it is right now, what is the status quo, is that what gets displayed in our cities, only big brands can allow to afford advertising outdoors. It's like, if I talked at the beginning about the big entry barrier of 50 to 100,000
Yeah.
euros here in Berlin, and I mean, if you're a restaurant who wants to advertise their daily lunch menu on a few screens around it, like, you just can't do it. If you want to put $5 on a screen in a shop window right around the corner of your store, you just can't do it right now. And we see the future as something that people can start to shape the appearance of our cities. We want to be just the backbone
So
structure.
let me ask you
Yeah.
a question here, because you've talked a fair bit about the idea of democratization, right? This idea of, I might have a screen, I put it up in my window or on my shop wall or something to that effect, and then it connects to the network, and then it doesn't have to be just one company that controls everything, but maybe we're democratizing it and then therefore reducing the barriers to entry for advertising. Now, my question is this: is there a benefit, first of all, to creating this as a decentralized infrastructure instead of just as a company, or why did you choose to do it as a company instead of as a decentralized infrastructure?
I mean, the thing about public screens is you have to have a little bit of an overhead and a look over about what information gets displayed. I mean, theoretically you could make it completely decentralized and let people put up all kinds of things on the screens, but this is sensitive stuff, and it gets played in public, so we have to have a little bit of overhead. This is also why we have to check every advert that is sent out. Like, if you plan a campaign, a trusted validator will have to permit it or audit it, at least, if your trust score isn't high enough.
In your point of view, what is the role of trusted entities in the future economy, and can decentralization truly exist in the world of the future?
To a certain degree, I think there needs to be authorities. They can be voted. They should be voted. But yeah, I think it can be, everything can be decentralized. I mean, but it depends on your thought about what truly is decentralized. You know, like there needs to be at some points authority checks, and I mean, like also like blockchains are also built upon like there are voted authorities or authority through hash power. And yeah, I mean, this is it depends on how you create the system, but I think yeah.
Does blockchain and the idea of centralization necessarily mean that we should push toward more distributed modes of governance with voting and that sort of thing on what counts as a legitimate or a trusted thing that can be put up on a screen, for example? Or should we use the blockchain as a way of reinforcing the older systems of having central figures in charge of governing our key infrastructures?
I mean, to be completely honest, we have to admit that everything we do, also in big politics, on world economics, is a big experiment. We've never been here before. We are all experiencing the 8th January or 11th January of 19, the first time. And everything we do is just like our thought of this could be better or this could be better. At the end, everything is yeah, kind of an experiment, and we have to see which outcome is preferred and what we idealize and how we want our future to be. And in that aspect, I think blockchain and decentralization can and especially like making things more transparent, also in like voting things or like possessions, making value transfer as it should be. This is something that will be beneficial in the future, of course. But at the end, everything is a big experiment.
All right, last question. How much should we be concerned about advertising in terms of ability to manipulate people? And especially as we are increasingly pushing into a potential decentralized advertising space, where there may be less ability for regulatory oversight, how much of a danger do you see in the general public being manipulated to think in certain ways that may be detrimental?
Yeah, this is a thought. This is something I thought about earlier. Like advertising clearly has some like is a two-edged sword. I mean, it can be used to inform us about new nice services we want to use or something that is beneficial to us, or it can be used to deceive us, of course. And I mean, what outdoor advertising is used right now is just for brand recognition, brand recognition. You see the whole, like the same brands all over and over and over again. And this is a space that is highly centralized, that like just only a few people can, or a few brands can state as their own and can push presence and enforce like mind control, like here's my brand, over and over and over again. And like I think what we are doing is like taking this big barriers off and allow also smaller entities and smaller economies to advertise and inform people around and push. And what, like, the thing about advertising outdoors is it really makes sense for also local things, local shops, local communities, local economies to advertise their services outdoors in the near umfeld, near area. And I'm also skeptical about the power of deception of advertising. But I think what we do with this is does more good than harm.
So, wrapping it up, I just wanted to ask, what is in the near future for Hygh AG, and how can people find out more?
Yeah, so we are soon starting a pilot in the Dominican Republic where we put 30,000 screens on top of cars that are driving around and show advertisement and informations, and make the Dominican Republic a little bit more
High
give
tech?
it a new touch, make it a little bit more high tech. Yeah, exactly. Then we start a pilot here also in Berlin. Maybe you will soon recognize a Hygh screen or a Hygh advert. And yeah, then we will push a global campaign. And I think in the future we will all get high together.
Very nice, very nice.
But if you want to find out more, check out Hygh.tech, hygh.tech. Check us out, visit our Telegram group, write us an email, or if you have any screens or any shops and want to participate, just send us an email, partner up, was nice talking to you,
thank you very
Nathan.
much for joining me on the show. It was a good chat. Antonius Link is the co-founder and chief visionary officer of Hygh AG, based here in Berlin, Germany. They are doing the future of advertising and incorporating a blockchain revenue share token. They are incorporated in Zug, Switzerland, and it was great having you on the show.
Thanks.